So, with that exercise, what was the hardest part of doing that lean canvas or the UVP? Yeah?
The fonts on Google Sheets are like pretty weird.
Okay, they don't want the fonts. That's a good start. What else was difficult? Yeah?
I think for us it was nailing down exactly what the problem we're trying to solve is.
Right? That's why we start with the problem, is because everybody has a solution. It's easy to think of, I want to do this. I think this is a really cool idea, but trying to actually get to the problem that you're trying to solve is hard. Other difficulties, challenges with filling out this lean canvas? Yeah?
I think for us, we were kind of confused on where we would pick, because we're thinking of doing like an app kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's like, where would we gain our revenue from? Because if we have to like charge them for the app, it's like, would that really drive people to get the app, or like where would we do something?
Right. So you're moving ahead into what we call the business model, which is kind of the how. So I like to think about the world in terms of two things. First is the what, and then the how. So there's kind of first, what is it we're going to build? What is the app going to look like? What's the problem we're trying to solve? What's the customer look like that's going to buy it? And then the how, which is more about execution. And we're not there yet. Really, we're trying to figure out the what. What's the problem? What's the customer segment look like? What's the solution look like, and so on. But that's to come. So that will come later. But I wouldn't focus on that immediately. First focus is going to be on the problem. Yep. You want to follow up? No. Okay. Yeah.
For us, it was how narrow the scope of our problem should be. So being specific enough that you knew how to ask the questions and how to find answers, but also not being so specific that you lose your market size and lose some of your customers.
Right. That's a great, and there's an idea called a beachhead market, which is you find those early adopters or that very small market that you know you can access and you can then capture. And after you've captured that beachhead market or that niche market, then you can expand out from there. So don't think about it, you got to capture the whole thing. Think about there's a small group that I know will buy this product today, and from there we can expand out maybe other features, other aspects of the product to capture a larger part of the market. But you raised a great question, which is how to ask questions and how to get answers. So I asked you to talk about the gaps or the challenges as part of your assignment. So it's something you need to be thinking about. What's the risk? So there's risk associated with a lot of these, and really the concepts I just want to bring to you right now are there's three areas of risk. There is what's called market risk, which is, am I in the right market with this product, which is things like competition. That's a market risk. Someone's going to outcompete me for what I have. There's product risk, which is, first of all, is the product going to work? Is it going to meet the needs of the customer? And then there's customer risk. Am I going after the right customer? Am I going after the right customer segment? So those are all risks. We're not going to talk a lot about that today, but I just want to make you aware of the fact that there are these risks associated with each aspect of a business and the business model canvas. What we are going to talk about are the next steps, which are the problem interviews and the solution interviews. So I'm going to walk you through, actually we're going to talk about both problem interviews and solution interviews now, and then we're going to break. We're going to stay in this room and work together on the problem and the solution interviews. Mostly the problem interviews, but they're very similar. I'm going to walk you through both of those, and then you'll go start putting together a script, first for the problem interview and then for the solution interview. And your assignment after this workshop is to spend this rest of this week working on the problem interviews first. We'd like for you to do 10 problem interviews and then work on the solution interviews next. So we'd like for you to do 10 solution interviews. And these are, 40-minute interviews, so it's going to require some time, but we want you to try to get through at least 10 of the problem interviews this week. And we're going to have a check-in next week to see how far what progress you've made on those two sets of interviews. Okay? So that's the macro picture of what we're going to do. Any questions about that? Okay, the question should be, how do I do an interview? Or what should I do in the interview? So this is what the interview is going to look like. And this is the problem interview. So this is what this is the layout. And you've got this template in your assignment. You've got a version of this. And you've got a version of kids' gyms. My great idea, which by the way I'm giving away for free. If anyone wants to work on that, if your idea blows up in the middle of this, you can work on kids' gyms. And I'd be happy to help you with that. So you're going to go through some things like setting the stage and get some demographic information about the person you're talking to. There's a template in your assignment sheet in the appendix that has all this information to be filled in, so you can use that when as you document your interviews. You're going to tell a story. When my daughter was in middle school, she played lacrosse and she kept getting injured, and the doctor said that she isn't very strong. She didn't have good upper body strength and her shoulders were always dislocating. She needs a good physical trainer to help her. She needs to find a gym where she can get good strength training. So that's my story. That's how I would start out. You may have a story that's personal, or you just may have a story that's not personal, but you want to tell a story that outlines this problem, because that's your setup for this interview. You're stating the problem, and you want to begin to help this person they're interviewing understand it. This may sound kind of formal, kind of contrived, and in a sense it is contrived because we're trying to get information, but we have to set the stage with a story. So we're telling the story that describes a problem, and then you may list several problems. And what I might say is, I tried to go out and help my daughter have some strength training, and she signed up for Planet Fitness. When she went to Planet Fitness, and she didn't like working out with all those dudes in Planet Fitness that are big and strong. Or I took her to the middle school and had the coach work with her, but the coach didn't really know how to work with my daughter because those coaches really aren't trained to work with middle school students that are athletes perhaps. Or the coach wasn't really trained because it wasn't really the appropriate thing. So then I'm going to say, okay, I've listed these problems. Now, help me understand these problems better. This is the heart of the interview. This is where you ask things, open-ended questions about the problems. Tell me what you think about these problems. Could you rank order these problems? Would you say that access to a middle school gym is a bigger problem than going and working out in an adult gym? Or, that the equipment for middle school students is not appropriate for middle school students? Things like that. So you're asking them, they're going to rank these, and you're asking lots of follow-up questions. This is 15 minutes. And then at that point, you're going to give a very high-level description of your solution. So what I'm thinking about is a gym just for middle school students. That's all I'd say. And I'd like to come back and talk to you a little bit later about my idea. Do you mind if I come back and talk to you? That's your opening for our second interview, which is going to be your solution interview, which is your second interview. Okay, that's it. That's the problem interview. Any questions about that? Someone's got to ask one question before yes, go ahead.
So how do you get someone who might be really busy to agree to doing a 40-minute interview with a student who's never been in the business before?
Oh, easy. People love to talk to students. You play the student card. I can guarantee you adults love it. I love it. I get a student email me and say, I'm working on a startup company and I need to, I'm looking for some people who are really, an expert in the field that you're in, or I've got this idea and I really need some help and I'm a student, I'm at UNC. They'll usually take your interview. Now, getting other students to do it, I don't know, they're busy too. So that may be a problem. But I would always just, you're not trying to sell them anything. That's the first thing. You say, I'm not here to sell you my product. I'm here to learn from you about a problem that I'm trying to understand better for my startup company. Or a startup company that I'm thinking about starting. And I need to learn more. So, yeah.
Would you recommend recording the interview and then coming back to it later?
If you want to, if they're up for that, that's fine. I mean, I think that wrap-up session, and I would recommend both 2 people go if you can. No, it's not always easy, but 2 people can really hear different things when you're in an interview. So you wrap it up and you say, what did you hear, what did I hear, and let's talk about kind of, what we thought the person said. And it only takes a few minutes to do the wrap-up. And then the document you want to put into this template that we give you, that, what are my key learnings? What did I learn from this interview? Who was this person? Was this the right person to talk to or not? Okay? This is the heart of customer discovery, is this problem interview, right? I have not mentioned one word about my solution so far, except this high-level thing. That's just to kind of tee it up for the next conversation. But I'm not walking in saying, I got this great idea for a gym for kids, and I want to talk to you about it. Now, you may say that in the very beginning, just to set the stage. You could say that. But you're not going to say, what do you think about my idea? You've blown it. You first need to understand the problem. That's important. Callie.
I was just wondering, where do they find potential customers?
Depends on who the customer is. So
That might be intimidating.
it's very intimidating, super intimidating. This is the hardest part of doing this. So you have to, if you know professors who can get you into the adult world, like me or others, that if there's a professor who has a particular area, you can talk to them, parents, relatives, friends, family. Those are the kind of the adult world you can talk to. Here at UNC, I would just go camp out at the Union and sit down next to somebody. Hey, I'm working on a school project. You got a few minutes so I can do a quick interview? If not now, I'm happy to follow up later, and we'll schedule a time. This is, and you may want to, give them a little idea. I got this idea for an app. I got this idea for a dating app. How many dating apps do we have here? Anyone? Good. A lot of dating apps out there. There are probably some good ones, but we've seen a lot. But that's the idea. I'd go, this is a lot of cold calling. And that's why people don't like doing this, because you have to just reach out and say, hey, I'm trying to do this. Could you give me a hand? And it's hard. There's no 2 ways about it. Other questions? Okay, we're going to go to the solution interview now, and then we're going to break out here and do it all together, and then we'll meet back in a bit. So we'll your exercise is going to go to the Google Doc that I have. There's a script. You don't go to it right now. This is telling you what you're going to be doing. And then you're going to develop this interview script. And then there's a solution interview that comes next, which is very similar in structure to the problem interview. But now you're going to demo something if you have something to demo. Your demo may just be a piece of paper with a mock-up of your idea. It may be just a detailed description of your app or your idea or your thing that you're going to build, and you're just going to describe it in some detail. If you could put together a Google sketch of it or something on your computer just to show them something they can look at, that would be great. You're not going to have a full demo, obviously, to show them, at least not right now. You may in the future. But you're going to demo it, give them an idea of what this is. So Kids Gyms is this facility. It's really cool. It's got, bright colors, lots of sunlight. All the facilities and all the equipment are just for middle school students. And we have a bus that picks up kids at the middle school and brings them over to our gym. We have trainers that do specialized training, and we work with the coaches, and we have virtual coaches that work with students, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm giving them a demo, a very detailed description of my solution. And then I'm going to ask the hardest question, which is, what? Yeah. Right, but you're not going to ask that question. You're going to say, I want to charge $15 a month. Uh-oh, we lost our projector. $15 a month, and you sit back and look for body language. And you want to be aggressive on the pricing. $100 a month. I think that's pretty good. And you go, whoa, $100 a month for middle. Did you say $100 a year or $100 a month? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for sensitivity to pricing. This is your first chance to get some pricing information from somebody. Don't be shy. Be aggressive if you can. But don't ask the question, which is the obvious question to ask, is how much would you pay for this? Because you're going to get a lot of answers. And people are going to say, oh, what? How about free? That sounds great. And there are models for free, and business models for freemium and other things like that. But so you're going to test the pricing, and then it's going to be the ask. And so your ask is going to be a permission to follow up. And that second point is probably one of the most important questions you'll ever ask, which is, do you know of anyone else I could talk to about this problem? Once you're in, you need to start what they call submarining, which is finding your way around to other people. You can even do that on your problem interviews. Wrap up your problem interview and say, hey, do you know anybody else who has a similar sort of problem like this? Or could you recommend me? Could you, if I send you an email, could you connect me with that person? Whatever it is. So those are ways to get to the next people. So problem interview first, document your results, and what would happen perhaps, why do you think we're doing this problem interview first and then the solution interview second? Yeah.
Because we can modify the solution interview based on the area.
Exactly. So your solution may change after you do 10 problem interviews. You may find out, gosh, sounds like the solution that we had thought of isn't really going to match the problem that we're finding out. Maybe we should change our solution a little bit and offer a different type of solution. So we're going to do first problem, then solution. And I can send out these slides to folks afterwards. Okay, I think. So after we leave tonight, so we're going to spend a few minutes now working on the problem interview and the solution interview. You've got the templates there. And then your homework for the next week is to conduct the problem interviews and document that in your documents. So we'll be looking at those folders, monitoring those folders like Facebook monitors everybody, and seeing what you're doing. And then we'd like for you to develop the solution interview and then conduct the solution interviews. We're trying to be as realistic as possible. How much can you get done in a week? And I would say that if you got 10 solid problem interviews done this week, that would be great. If you want to be superstars, then I would come back to those same people or some new people, if those people aren't quite the right people you think, with some solution interviews. Okay? Questions or comments? Yeah.
So for the anecdote, beginning of the interview, would you recommend tailoring sort of the aspect of the anecdote to the person that you're interviewing? Like say that you're looking at someone who may sell on a platform versus someone who may buy on a platform. Would you tell a different story in the meeting?
So you're talking about you've got a two-sided market here? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Like if you're talking to different kinds of customers.
Yeah, so let's just take kids' gyms as an example. Let's say I'm talking to YMCA versus talking to a parent.
Right.
So that may be a different maybe a different setup. So for the YMCA, I may say, you don't have a lot of middle schoolers here, do you? Or if I go to a gym, Planet Fitness, wouldn't it be great, you don't have a lot of middle schoolers to come to Planet Fitness. Have you guys, is this a problem for you guys? Do you want more middle schoolers at your gym? Or does a YMCA want more middle schoolers at the YMCA? So that may be a slightly different setup as compared to a parent. And even a middle schooler. Say you're interviewing a middle schooler versus the parent, that may be a little bit of a different setup. But fundamentally, there's a problem you're trying to solve. And for me, it's, for my problem, it's access to the proper equipment and training for middle school student athletes. And so I'm going to tell a story that relates to that somehow. I may tailor it a little bit differently depending on who I'm talking to. I may have different problems that I may lay out for them depending on who I'm talking to. Other questions? Okay, we've got still sizable amount of time, so I'm going to leave it to you. We need to be back here at 5. We can leave and come back, or we can stay here and come back, or stay here and not come back. Okay. I think we'll leave and come back. I think that go back to our rooms, work on the problem interview script. If you want to finish out some of your UVP. Does anybody have a unique value proposition they want to tell me? Anybody bold enough to read your unique value proposition? Yeah, okay, go for it.
Okay, so we haven't come up with a name, so we just have a your company.
Okay, your company.
Okay, so your company is a long-distance ride-sharing app for UNC undergrad and grad students who want cheap and accessible transport. Unlike Uber and Lyft, our service provides easy carpooling for long and short distance trips that saves money and contributes to sustainability.
Great. Did y'all get that? That's perfect. Anybody else want to share? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, you can do yours. Yeah.
So Breakthrough Breathing is a new innovative mobile application for gym goers who want to maximize their workouts and minimize injury through through specially targeted breathing exercises.
Unlike
other breathing apps on the App Store, it focuses on these breathing exercises targeted at active workouts rather than meditation.
Okay, great. These are awesome. So you see the value in this exercise? I mean, it's a clear statement. Those are clear statements about what it is you're trying to do. And you're going to be modifying this as you go forward because it may be unlike something else or the customer segment may change. But that's why that's at the middle of this lean canvas because it's a really essential pillar in your business. It's going to form your elevator pitch. It's going to form your slide deck. It's going to be the thing that really captures what you do and what value you're delivering. So it's a great place to start. It's a great template. Anybody else want to say theirs? Yeah, go ahead.
Ours is kind of in the works, but we haven't named our company yet, so I'll say Blank. But the Blank is an environmentally sustainable alternative for concrete consumers who desire excellence in insulation capacity, structural integrity, and generalized applicability to many building projects. Unlike concrete, hempcrete provides superior insulation capabilities, a method of creation that actually absorbs greenhouse gases as opposed to producing them in mass quantities during production, and moisture control all in one distinct package.
Awesome. These are great. Anybody else got theirs? Okay. Any questions about what we're going to do next? Problem interview script. We'll come back and we'll meet with Nancy, who's going to tell you about library resources. And then you'll grab pizza and go root for your favorite team or not. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you in a little bit. We'll see you in about 30 minutes. Go to your rooms.